Big Ledge Barbecue, brisket burnt ends, take one. Right, we've got the coals set up, and as you can see we've got the beech wood sort of shoved down into the coals to help with the smoulder. We want a nice long smoulder, and I've got two pieces of beech, one at either side of the coals and near the air vents. We've set up with a couple of natural firelighters, so we'll get them lit. We'll let the coals get warm and then we'll set the barbecue up. This length of cook will probably be able to last with this charcoal basket, but we'll see how it goes and I'll let you know throughout the cook. Morning. Right, first things first, let's get the charcoal lit. And we can be letting them coals warm up while we trim up our point. So starting with the meat, I've actually bought a point. This was already trimmed at the butcher's. If you can get it, that's great. If you can't, then obviously you have to get the full packer, cut up the flat and the point, or cook them together, whatever you want to do. But today we're just focusing on burnt ends. Probably the best mouthful of meat you'll ever get, I think. Just a little bite-sized pieces. So we'll start with the point. You'll see it hasn't been trimmed yet, so we'll give it a quick trim. I've got my butcher's knife. I'm still practicing how to get them sharp. Now on the top here you'll see there's a real big thick fat vein that you want to trim off. As you can see, that's just pure fat, and the fat is going to restrict any sort of the seasonings and smoke getting into the meat. If you so want to, you could keep the fat, grind it up, put it into burgers, sausage, but just for today we're going to whip it straight off. Try and cut underneath. Right, not done a crazy trim, and I do think I need a sharper knife, so I'll sort that out for the next video. We've taken off most of the fat cap. I've got a little bit of fat underneath. I'm going to leave that now and get to seasoning up. We're going to use a Worcestershire sauce as a smear, just to help the seasoning stick. So get a little bit of that on. And purists out there would say just salt and pepper, but we like it sweet, so I'm going to use my sweet pork rub. It still has plenty of salt and pepper in it, but it also has the sugars, a little bit of paprika for colour, so just to help with that sweetness and that bark formation. So get plenty on. Want a nice crust and have that nice bark forming. Again, we'll just go for a little pat. You could try and even the piece of meat out, but this is quite even. Sometimes you end up with a really thick end at one side. If that's the case, then you'd butterfly it just to try and make sure that you get an even cooking time throughout the whole meat. We'll flip that over. We'll get some more Worcestershire sauce on it. plenty of rub on. We want it nice and crunchy back. Right, we've got that seasoned up. We're going to let that hang out on the board. I'm going to drink my coffee, my big Les mug. The coals are just starting to get nice and white. So 5 minutes, I'll get the lid on, we'll get it up to temp, and then we'll get this chucked into the grill. Been sitting on the board. As you can see, it's all started to now soak in. It's looking nice and glossy. So it's time to get it on the barbecue. Lift lid off. Cooking about 250 today, and I'm monitoring my temp on my Firm Pro wireless thermometer. So we'll pop there on the grill grates. Again, same as my previous videos, I have got the water pan in, but I'm running it without water in. I'll be controlling the temperature myself. Not really bothered about meat temp at the minute because I want a good 3-4 hour smoke on it, but it seems it's in, we may as well shove it in anyway. So shove it into the fatty part of the meat. We're going to pop the lid on. I'll dial the temperature into about 250, so we'll shut down the top vents to about pencil whips open and similar to the bottom grates. Now, one last thing for smoky flavour, I've seen it on other videos, so I'm going to try it today, and I think you'll thank me for it because the smell is fantastic. We're going to take an onion, and I've quartered that, and we're going to pop that straight into the hot coals. Already smelling amazing. Right, I'll manage these temps now for the next 3 to 4 hours. We'll see you then. I'll get back to drinking my coffee. Cheers. The meat's been on for about 2.5 hours, so it's time to start just giving it a little spritz. I've tried to leave it in there just to get as much smoke as possible. Again, if you're looking, you ain't cooking. So let's have a quick look. Open her up. Again, give it a quick spritz. We've just got water in here today. See the meat, it's got a real nice mahogany colour to it, and the bark is forming nicely. It's still not set, so we're going to let that go for another hour just to get that bark to set up on the meat. Again, lid back on. We'll keep going. I'll see you again in an hour. Meat's been on for about 4 hours now. Let's have her off. We've got plenty of smoke on it. We've got a nice colour. That's absolutely beautiful. We're going to wrap in our peach butcher's paper, which hopefully the wind will be kind to me today. What we shall see. I shall use my phone as a prop and my sprayer. Whip out the probe. The bark has nicely formed on the brisket. The juices are absolutely flowing beautifully. Let's have a quick look. Let's whip this off. Go, and then time to wrap. Again, if you want to book me for wrapping your Christmas presents, probably not the best idea, but we like to fold over the top. We like to fold in to trap the moisture, make 2 nice pleats and folds, and then 1, 2, 3. Beautifully wrapped up. Like I say, I can be booked for Christmas and birthdays, and if you want me to put a little ribbon on, I can do. So now we've got that wrapped up. Internal temp was sitting at about 160 as we've pulled it. We're going to pop the probe back in. We are now bothered about the temp because we're going to take that right up to about 205 to 208 before cubing. In the meantime, I'm going to make a Kansas City barbecue sauce, so please look out for that video. That's what we're going to use to sauce these up when we put them in the pot. Just while I'm on another shout out section, I'd like to put 2 shout outs today. One to a very good friend of mine who's just had a heart attack, Mr. Gary Sharman. Hope you a speedy recovery. We'll see you soon, mate. And another one to Jonathan Davies. Thanks for all the tips on the camera equipment and on the audio. Hopefully it puts into good practice on this video. See you soon. Took the internal temp up to 205 degrees Fahrenheit internal temp on the meat. It's taken longer than I was hoping, but that's one of the things with barbecue, and I'm sure you'll all know that you can go for times, but times don't always work out. You've just got to look for them internal temperatures to come up. Today took quite a long time to get through the stall, even though I wrapped in butcher's paper, but she's finally up to temp. We're just going to take it off the grill. See, I put some spuds in ready for later. I'll whip that off. I will put the lid back on, keep my spuds nice and warm. Right, let's go for the opening up. I'm going to open it up in the tray just to capture any juices, and then we'll cut it on the board. Because we're saucing up, we're not going to rest. We're just going to cube it up, get some sauce in, and then get it tacked up. You can see again the butcher's paper. It does a great job of steaming the meat. I will say that is super hot. Just set my paper. I shall place it down here just for now. I will put it in the bin in a moment. Right, you can see super juicy, super hot. Made a mess of my hands. That's why you bring the trusty tea towel out. Just take another juice off. Take your nice sharp brisket knife. We're going to look for 1-inch cubes. So we'll start to take it into strips. Nice long strokes. It's like butter. Take the sauce. I'm going to coat each of these burnt ends up in the sauce. Get these bits in. I apologise for the wind. It's a typical summer's day here in sunny England. Sunny scunny. We don't want to go crazy on the sauce, we just want to coat them up. One more. That's looking pretty dang good if I do say so myself. I'll just pop over to the camera. Have a look. The joys of being your own cameraman. Right, I'm going to pop these back in the grill. I'm going to take my spuds off. I'll take them inside to warm up. I'll pop the foil tray back on the barbecue, and we're going to let them go until they are soft, squidgy, sort of marshmallow texture meat. See you soon. Thankfully the sauce is now set up. It's been half an hour. They're looking pretty damn tasty, if I do say so myself. Right, brisket burnt ends, sauced, glazed, super hot, nice little meat marshmallow bites, super squidgy, nice and juicy. Thanks very much. See you on the next cook.